Someone's gotta die now.
No,
Woo. All right, guys, that's enough of that. But Halloween is tomorrow. I wonder what I should be.
Daddy, you don't need a mask. You're ugly enough.
How about you become a real YouTuber for Halloween?
Not being a YouTuber. Like that could never be me.
My channel isn't completely washed.
Ugly.
Be a real YouTuber for Halloween. What up, dude bros? I'm Blee, and this is a video review of the Nerf Pro Stryfe X. This blaster by Nerf is a flywheel-powered, semi-auto, magazine-fed blaster. Let's get into it. Included is the blaster, magazine, LiPo battery, darts, safety glasses, and instructions. External overview of the Stryfe X, starting up at the front. There is not an in-strike barrel lug. Since it doesn't have a barrel lug, it is not compatible with any Nerf barrel attachments. So no tactics for you, bro. Below that, there's a front tactical rail for a vertical grip or flashlight. But it's not the typical in-strike rail. It appears to be a Nerf rival style rail. Up front, top sling mount, then to the access door. You can open that up to clear any jams, but I did not experience any jams or malfunctions with this blaster. Also, there's no electronic lock on this access door, so you can still rev the blaster even if it's open. Down below to the mag and mag well. To remove the magazine, you strike the mag release right here. It is an extended lever design, and it's on the center line of the blaster, so a right and left-handed shooter can use it equally. Full ambi, bro. However, the positioning of this lever does not allow you to use your firing hand to remove the magazine. Unless you've got really long fingers, you'll need to use your offhand like this. Other than a new design on the mag release, the magwell here is much smaller than all the other in-strike magwells because it only works with half-length dart magazines. That's right, bros, Nerf has gone pro. The included magazine is Nerf's first half-length dart magazine. It's completely opaque and lacks any kind of ammo window to check how many darts you have left in the mag. No tactics, bro. They probably should have painted it clear on at least one side. But the magazine has a capacity of 15 half-length darts. And again, the magazine only works with half-length darts. It will not fit a standard-sized Elite dart at all. These are Nerf's brand new AccuStrike Pro darts. They're not compatible with any of the old Nerf stuff. These are actually cut-down AccuStrike darts. The AccuStrike dart was objectively Nerf's best dart ever, so it's no surprise that they used these to make their half-length darts. They are half the length of standard Elite darts, and that's why they won't work with your old blasters or Nerf magazines, and that's why standard darts won't work with the new Nerf half-length magazine. But other half-length or cut-down darts will work just fine. So the Nerf Pro Stryfe X does not work with other Nerf magazines, but it is compatible with Worker Talon mags. There's nothing wrong with this magazine. It feeds properly. There's no reason not to use it. But it's compatible with Worker Talon magazines, and that's the important part. Reinstallation of the magazine is a little tight, but a little note on that in my opinion and firing analysis. Moving back, the lower trigger here is the rev switch, so of course you want to hold that down for a moment to rev up the flywheels prior to firing. The rev switch here is pretty similar to the original Stryfe, and it completely disappears into the blaster when holding it down. Moving up to the main firing trigger, this is a mechanically operated semi-auto system that operates very much like the original Stryfe, as opposed to the electronic operation of something like the Dart Zone Omnia Pro. Operating the Stryfe X is just like operating the normal Stryfe or any other flywheel blaster. You load up the magazine, you have your batteries, you hold down the rev trigger, and you start pew-pewing. Interestingly, the trigger pull is a little bit smoother on the Stryfe X compared to the original Elite Stryfe. I've opened it up and it has a geared pusher like the Hailfire or some of the original Stryfe full auto kits. It also has two return springs in the fire control group, one extension spring behind the pusher like you normally find on a Stryfe, and a second spring, this time a compression spring just behind the trigger. If you remove the spring behind the pusher, it makes it a little easier to pull that trigger, which makes it even smoother to operate than it already was. It is a substantial performance boost, but if the spring is left in and the blaster is operated as intended, I'm sure most users won't even notice it. Above that is the rechargeable LiPo battery. To disconnect the battery for charging, you push down this little button here and slide the little switch away from the battery. Then you can pull the battery out and charge it with the included USB-C charging cable. When it's done charging, you can replace it into the blaster by putting the rear end in first and clicking the front of the battery into place. Being a flywheel blaster, the Stryfe X does not fire or work at all without the battery pack installed. To the grip, it's larger now than on the original Stryfe, and I like the new design. And most importantly, it doesn't alienate an adult hand, but it's still also very comfortable for a small hand. Overall, pretty good grip. And at the bottom of the grip, we have another sling or lanyard mount here. Up top, there's a rival-style tactical rail for your optic or whatever. And in the rear, there's a stock attachment point. This blaster does not include a stock, but it's compatible with all your N-Strike stocks. External overview completed. Now I'll show you the blaster firing. Starting off, I'll be firing the Nerf AccuStrike Pro rounds out of the included Nerf magazine. Worker Talon mag with Worker Gen 3 half-length darts. Operating the Stryfe X is a ton of fun. It has a very fast rate of fire depending on your trigger finger and a pretty solid firing velocity. I did not experience any blaster jams or major malfunctions, although there is a slight issue with the mag well. There is no flare to the Stryfe X mag well whatsoever, so you have to be extremely precise when inserting a fresh magazine. The mag well here is cut to the exact proportions of the Nerf half-dart mag, and this leaves very little wiggle room for error. This doesn't become much of a problem until you try using half-dart magazines from other manufacturers. Worker Talon mags are the magazine of choice for many Nerfers, and while they do work with the Stryfe X, they're an even tighter fit than the official Nerf magazines. Something to keep in mind if you decide to buy this blaster. To compare this blaster to others, I put it up on my chronograph, and with the included AccuStrike Pro darts, I achieved an average velocity of 160 feet per second, which is way over the 70 FPS Elite average. It's more than twice what we can expect from most Nerf brand blasters, including the original Stryfe. That's something you would have to invest a lot of time and money into in order to achieve comparable results with a normal Stryfe. This blaster is not generally something you would use in a stock dart war, but for a super stock or higher competition level game, this would be great. That's the objective information I can provide on this blaster. Now onto my personal opinion. Overall, my opinion is definitely positive on this one. I am stoked that the Nerf Pro Stryfe X has been launched. I don't hide the fact that the Nerf Stryfe is my favorite Nerf blaster of all time, and now we have the benefit of what is basically a pre-modded Stryfe. A high-performance, competition-ready Pro Stryfe is available and easily accessible for anyone who wants to buy one, regardless of their modding ability. And I think that's great. The included LiPo battery seems to be very high quality, and with its USB charging and built-in safety features, it's a game changer for people that were hesitant to use one before. The Stryfe X doesn't come without its fair share of drawbacks though. Overall, I'm very satisfied with the blaster, but it really leans into the modded Nerf blaster look, maybe a little too much. The Stryfe is already an asymmetrical blaster, and now with the extended battery and the flywheel cover, it looks more lopsided than ever. I understand why they did this, but it's just a con worth pointing out. That along with the previously mentioned flaws, including the lack of an N-Strike barrel lug and the tight mag well, that rounds out my complaints, but overall, very positive opinion on the Stryfe X. That's my personal opinion. Now onto the question of to buy or not to buy. If you're looking for a compact, flywheel, semi-auto, magazine-fed, half-dart firing Nerf blaster with a high muzzle velocity of around 150 to 160 feet per second, yeah, definitely check it out. There were no jams or malfunctions, and it performs similarly to every other high-power flywheel blaster on the market, so there's no objective reason to avoid purchasing this one. But before you buy it, consider if you're able to mod a blaster or not. If you can mod, you can get an original Stryfe up to this level of performance, and it may be a little cheaper, especially if you already own a Stryfe or have some of the required parts or pieces already. And the original Stryfe is like the Honda Civic of Nerf blasters. It has a ton of aftermarket parts available, from body kits to internal mods, whatever. And most of these will not work with the Stryfe X due to the slight differences with the internals of that blaster and the differing tactical rails. If you're not going to mod, the Stryfe X is an excellent choice as it has a much higher muzzle velocity out of the box than any other blaster Nerf has made before it. It's very robust and well built, so the quality is there. But another thing to consider is the price. The Stryfe X retails for about $120 US, as opposed to the original Stryfe, which retails for $20 to $30. It isn't really correct to compare it to the original, but even when put up against comparable blasters like the Dart Zone Omnia, which retails for $90, or the older Dart Zone Mark III, which has similar performance to the Stryfe X, and you can pick one of those up for $60 or less. So is the Stryfe X worth the money? Only you can make that call, but if you're looking for something like this, I think you'll be very satisfied with the Stryfe X. Hopefully I've laid out all the objective information you need to make an educated purchase decision. If you'd like to buy one of these, I'll put a purchase link in the description box below. That concludes the Nerf Pro Stryfe X review. It feels so good to say that and not be trolling. This is a real thing, a half dart Pro Stryfe. The Stryfe is back, bros, and it's better than ever. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.